Welcome to News from the Underworld, an all-new weekly dispatch from that weird and wacky world we like to call Australia. I'm here to guide you through headlines you never knew happened, Australian words you won't find in textbooks, the truth about Australian animals, and anything else I can think of. Let's get on with it. Welcome to the Australian School of Language, where I teach you how Australians really speak. This week we're talking about the expression yeah nah. Do Australians really say yeah nah? As an Australian who's lived here all their life, I can tell you, yeah, we do. Where did it come from? Who knows? But apparently it started in around the 1990s, somewhere, somehow. And, language is a fluid thing. Words develop and disappear within languages all the time, and regional variations can and do pop up pretty quickly, especially within a language as widespread as English, which is spoken in so many countries that are so far away from each other. Look at the massive difference, for example, between Shakespearean English and modern-day English. I mean, they're basically almost two different languages. What does yeah nah mean? Well, it doesn't really have a direct or a set meaning. It's more of just a turn of phrase. Saying yeah nah is super common, really, really normal. It's not a low class or bogan specific expression. Everyone says it. There's no stigma around saying it. It's not any kind of swear word or anything like that. It's not a cover up for saying anything else. It's literally just something that everyone says. It really would not be out of place in a business meeting or in an interview with a politician, for example. As for why we say it, I think the answer to that is kind of large and multifaceted, really. It's possibly gives us people time to think when they're trying to formulate an answer to a question someone's given them, filling dead air space, if you like. And personally, I think it could be giving a little bit a way of giving acknowledgement to someone that you're talking to. So, for example, it could be a way of saying, yeah, I understand the concept you're proposing to me, but nah, this is why it's not going to work. So essentially telling someone gently that they're wrong about something or letting them down easy, if you like. It could also be potentially a way to deal with discomfort, such as accepting compliments. So if someone said, oh, you're the best player on the field today, and you go, yeah, nah, but the whole team really came together and da-da-da. So ideally like a way of acting humble, if you like. And once you start hearing something, it becomes habit. That's just human nature. We hear something, we like it, we repeat it. Once you've said it more than 3, 4, 5 times, it's in your vernacular. And that's all about yeah, nah. Secret Australian stuff, let's go. Secret Australian stuff is that moment of the week that gives you the opportunity to learn real Australian stuff. Every week I'll be asking you a special question about on-the-ground Australian culture. Every Australian will know the answer, or at least I expect them to. But if you haven't lived here, you might not, and this question is for you. Leave your best guess in the comments and I'll give you the answer in next week's show. Australians who know the answer, please don't spoil it for others. To start off with, I'm going to play a line from a very well-known song, and I want to know what is the correct Australian response. In other words, when you hear this as an Australian, what do you sing in response? Let's have a listen. Am I ever gonna see your face again? The question again, what does every Australian shout when they hear this line from the chorus of that song? If you don't know, leave your best guess in the comments below and I'll give the answer in next week's show. If you do know the answer, comment something else, but please don't spoil it for others. Now, Australia is well known for its scary animals, but this week we've got a new one for you. The Carnarvon flapjack octopus, a 4-centimetre wide gelatinous pancake of an octopus, was found off the northwest coast of northern Australia. Sounds like something you'd have with maple syrup, really, doesn't it? But no, this little deep-sea dumpling lives over 1,000 metres below the surface off the coast of Western Australia and apparently flattens itself like a pancake when threatened, which, frankly, I probably do too. It joins Australia's long list of creatures that will never actually kill you because you'll never see them, unlike seagulls who will absolutely steal a sandwich out of your hand midway through eating it. Ask me how I know. This octopus has no ink, can't change colour, and instead of hiding behind camouflage or toxic slime, it relies on pure awkward vibes and living in patches of darkness to survive. Scientists say it's part of the Dumbo family of octopuses, which, judging by the way it flaps around with tiny little head fins, feels both biologically accurate and slightly rude. And yes, it's definitely 4 centimetres long. That's about that much, so maybe a couple of inches. In other words, it's the same size as a baby huntsman spider, which is probably behind your curtains right now. One of Australia's 2 major supermarkets this week has done us a naughty yet again. In case you don't know, Australia only has 2 major supermarket chains plus Aldi. This means that those 2 majors, Coles and Woolworths, can basically do whatever the hell they want, and they do. This week, Woolworths, which we call Woolies, is treating us like toddlers with broken brains. Not that that's a new thing. Since the pandemic, the sharp rise in retail food prices worldwide is no news to any of us, but if you're bored with your own country's bullshit, have a look at the bullshit they're feeding us here in Australia. Apparently, there are families out there spending $150 a week on a weekly shop, and I reckon you'd only be feeding the adults for that because the kids would be in hospital, dying of starvation. Woolies tells us they'll be giving us lower shelf prices on family favourite items, promising us savings of around 10%, which will last until at least 2026. 7 whole months. Way! I guess they expect us to believe that'll make up for the 30 to 40% rises we've seen since 2020, and to not know that Coles and Woolworths are amongst the most profitable supermarket chains in the entire world. What's more, we can also depend on seeing real change at the checkout, which, given the lack of actual checkouts in Australian supermarkets these days, would be hilarious if it weren't so completely tragic. Now, as a typical middle-aged suburban Hausfrau on a budget, I fancy myself pretty well qualified to talk about grocery shopping, and you might be the same. Let's have a look at the bright, shiny catalogue and go through it in a little bit more detail and see what we make of it. Straight away, we can see that what they're offering us is cheaper products anyway. All this dog and cat food are cheap brands that a lot of people wouldn't buy unless they're on a very strict budget. The washing products are cheaper brands as well. That's not so great. $1 a kilo off corn silverside, I guess that's not too bad. Chicken mince, that's $4.99 at Aldi anyway for 500 grams. The prepackaged microwave rice, that was $1.65 when they started selling that originally, so it's gone up to $1.90, but hey, it's down now to $1.80. You know, you're getting a bargain then. Let's see what else they're offering us here. Olive oil spread for $3.50, that's not too bad. 2 types of frozen fruit, mixed berries and mangoes. They're $1 and nearly $1 off. That's still quite expensive, really. $9, $10, $11 for a kilo of frozen fruit. Rolled oats, $1.60. That's how much they are in Coles anyway. And let's have a look at the fine print here. Now, despite in the original blurb promising us that these lower shelf prices are available both in store and online, if you have a look at the fine print, it says lower shelf price products may not be available at Woolworths Metro, Woolworths online. So they're already potentially breaking their promises if you have a really good look at what they're trying to sell us. What else have we got here? 50 cents off a bottle of Coke. Nappies. Home brand chips. Yeah, a lot of it's their own home brand or cheaper brands anyway. I can't see that they're really offering us any serious savings on premium products. Let us know if it's the same in your country. Is your country suffering from shrinkflation like Australia is? Are you getting the wool pulled over your eyes by major corporations that you are forced to rely on? Let us know. Brisbane is currently being used as a backdrop for the latest Godzilla movie. It's another major production that's rolled into town. It's Queensland has quietly become something of a hotspot for international film production over the last 10 to 15 years due to government tax breaks, tax incentives, studio infrastructure, which they've been slowly building, and a state government that's desperate to brand itself as the new Hollywood. Watch out. It's no wonder the monsterverse ended up here. We don't know what's going to happen with Donald Trump's tax breaks and what effect that's going to have on the industry, both here and overseas at the moment. But for the time being, Godzilla is here, and so is Owen Wilson, who's been spotted in James Street, New Farm, more than once. According to the Courier Mail, a local major masthead newspaper, Brisbane CBD has been transformed into a cinematic spectacle as filming commences for Godzilla x Kong Supernova, the latest instalment in the Monsterverse franchise. Directed by Australian filmmaker Grant Sputore, the production features stars like Dan Stevens, Caitlin Dever, Sam Neill and Matthew Modine. Early scenes have showcased dramatic action sequences outside the Star Casino, which is in the Brisbane CBD, complete with military gear and fire effects. This marks the fourth Monsterverse film shot in Queensland, with previous titles including Kong, Skull Island and Godzilla vs. Kong. They've transformed William Street, complete with palm trees, which is into a set resembling apparently London. Check it out. The film is expected to contribute significantly to the local economy, injecting approximately $93 million and providing employment for around 400 cast and crew. Our unknown hero this week is Australian track sprinter Bree Rizzo, named Masters. This 29-year-old, originally from Sydney and now living on the Gold Coast, specialises in the 100-metre sprint. First off, Bree was a beach sprinter, winning the World Championship in 2016 before moving over to track sprinting in 2019.
Masters.
Bree Masters. The first Australian into the women's semis.
She's narrowly missed winning the Australian national title more than once, just recently losing out to Tori Lewis by 5/1000ths of a second at the Perth Nationals in April 2025. Semi-finalist at both the 2022 Commonwealth Games and the 2024 Paris Olympics, Bree has a PB of 11.23 seconds, set in Auckland 3 months ago, although she did run an 11.09 at the 2025 Perth Track Classic with an illegal tailwind. On top of that, Bree just last month won the Stawell gift off scratch, which is no mean feat. Let's just do a quick aside on the Stawell gift, because that's another Australian track race that you might not know about. Stawell Gift is a 3-day athletics meet with more than 60 events held over the Easter long weekend every year. The Stawell Gift is known as Australia's richest foot race because the featured event, the 120-metre sprint, has prize money of $40,000 for the winner. But in true Australian style, this is no ordinary sprint. It's 120 metres, not 100. It's on grass, with lane ropes, a handicap and a slight incline, which is said to be so that the winner can rise to the occasion. On top of that, Stawell is a regional town in Victoria and not all that easy to get to. Let's have a look at Bree's race.
Away, Rizzo on that right, so Stapleton and Rowe, Santilia, Crow got away really quickly, and behind her Anderson, and Rizzo starting to wind up. Crow hasn't got to Stapleton, right in the middle there, Santilia. Oh, Rizzo comes with a run, and I reckon has come from nowhere and won.
Now you might ask, why is the Stawell Gift this way? And I hear you, I do. But I think it's just one of those things that hasn't changed much with time, unlike most things in Australia. Winning the Stawell Gift from scratch is very rare and very difficult, because while the handicapping system is done with the ideal of giving everyone a fair chance, the reality is that athletes are at the mercy of those setting the handicaps. Many have tried and failed, including historically Asafa Powell and Sebastian Coe, and more recently this year, Gout and Lachlan Kennedy. All that to say, Bree did an outstanding job winning this year, and she's only the second ever woman to win the race off scratch. She now has a trophy that matches that of her husband Matt, who won the men's gift in 2017. But what has Bree done this month, I hear you ask? Her latest race was at the Continental Gold Tour in Tokyo, where Bree won the 100 metres, defeating Sha'Carri Richardson and TT Terry, amongst others.
Richardson left a little in her blocks. A great start from Miura to her left-hand side. Terry starting to assert herself. Richardson upright. Can she find the lead? Oh, it's going to be Rizzo of Australia coming through right at the end.
I know. Australian athletes are at the peak of their season and the Americans aren't. They're just at the start of their season. I know the times weren't fast. Every athlete in that race could have run fast and has done in the past. Bree's ranked 43rd in the world and they were running into a headwind. Bree herself was the first to acknowledge all of this in an interview, but give credit where it's due. Bree won fair and square on the day, and no one should insult the hard work she puts in by making excuses for others. If you'd like to find out more about Bree Rizzo, I'll leave the link to her YouTube channel in the description box below.